Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've asked for it, you've begged for it, you've pleaded for it, so here it is, Nemesis! In Nemesis from Awaken Realms, 1 to 5 players will take on the role of a spaceship crewman as they attempt to do battle with an evil infestation of aliens. So ladies and gentlemen, this game has been around for a while. I am late to the party. I played this game once about 2 years or so ago in Texas. I played it briefly. We actually played some of the rules wrong, so I really didn't get as good an experience as I wanted to. It was one of these games I always thought maybe I'd like to come back and revisit and try again. And I was in Utah recently. I picked the game up, and I played through it solo now a couple of times, and I've also played through a multiplayer once again here fairly recently. So I'm just going to give you an extremely bare bones rules overview, and then we'll go ahead and find out my thoughts. In Nemesis, the players wake up in the middle of a ship from hibernation sleep. Now, there's all sorts of things potentially wrong. The ship could be off course, the engines could be malfunctioning, and critically, there are deadly aliens wandering around. Players are going to select their own unique character, which may have access to their own unique cards. They're going to have their own action cards, which represent the things that they can do. They can specialize in. They're also going to go ahead and take their figure, their mini, place it on the board. You're also going to separate a number of other items that you're going to be using throughout the game, as well as the various alien mini figures, and a whole mountain of cards. Now, every round, players are going to take 2 actions. They're going to take 2 actions. You're going to go around. You're going to take another 2 actions. You're going to keep doing this until there's no more actions to take, at which point you will pass. And at that point, you are going to move to an event phase. Now, during your turn phase, as you take these 2 actions, you can take different kinds of actions. You can move, which means you're actually going to put a sound token in the corridor. You can try to do a quiet movement, in which case it's less chance of that. You're going to go ahead and you can do actions from your cards. Your cards are going to let you do things like fight. They're going to let you repair machinery, or they're going to let you do other fun and interesting things, which a lot of them are character specific. You're also going to take actions in the various rooms. Now, the various room tiles are hidden. You're going to have to go into those rooms and explore. When you go there, you find an exploration token, which means you adjust the room to a specific number, which says how many times that room can be searched. But each room is going to have a special action that it can do that possibly can help you and the rest of your teammates. Now, as you are going around doing these actions, though, there's something very important going on. This game is not a pure cooperative. You're not simply trying to rescue the ship and get going. Rather, each player is dealt a couple of their own unique objective cards. And then over the course of the game, as soon as an alien pops out, they're going to discard one and just keep one of their own unique objective cards. So what that means is, as you're playing the game, you may have objectives that are at odds with what everybody else is trying to accomplish. For instance, you may be trying to get a sample of the alien. You may be trying to assassinate another crew member. You may want the ship to go off course and you get home in an escape pod. There's all sorts of different things that you might do that will put you at odds with the rest of the crew. Conversely, there may be some things that aren't that bad that you can actually work with other people to try to attain. And after every player has taken their actions and passed, you go to the event phase, and there are some specific things that happen during this phase. First of all, you have a time track. You only have so many turns in order to get everything taken care of before the ship goes into hyperspace, and if you're not on the right track and if your engines aren't working, then you will die. Now, if you happen to be in any space with any intruders, they will attack you at this time, and I'll talk more about combat in a moment. Now, if an alien is in a room with that is currently on fire, that alien will take damage from the fire. Next, you're going to have event cards, and event cards do all sorts of things. They're going to start fires, they are going to hamper you or cause mechanical breakdowns, or do all sorts of funky things, rarely good in the game. So you go ahead, you draw that, and you resolve it. But critically, too, the event cards are also going to move intruders. If you've got the aliens on the board, they will, using the numbers up above and the direction, they will go ahead and move toward wherever the event card tells them to. And finally, you have the intruder bag development. Essentially, you have a bag which is full of little tokens. You're going to draw one of those tokens, and depending on what the token is, it's going to tell you to do different things. Now, it may just say, you know, replace this token with another token. It may say, you know, you need to do sound checks. You need to roll sound checks. And if you roll sound checks, essentially as you're moving along, you're putting out those yellow markers there. Well, if ever you're in a room and all the corridors have yellow markers around them, you're going to get an intruder. Otherwise, if you do a sound check, let's say the number 4 corridor has already got a yellow intruder there, and you do a sound check, you roll a die, and it says number 4. Guess what? You got an intruder coming. You're going to place an alien there. You're going to find out which alien it is with another draw, and then of course you're going to have to fight that alien. Now, once the bag development is done, you go ahead, you flip your cards back over, and you begin the next round by drawing 5 more cards. Now, if ever an intruder attacks you, you essentially draw an intruder card. And if the symbol on the intruder card matches the intruder there, they are going to hit you, they're going to attack you, you're going to draw a card to see what kind of damage you take. You may hurt your arm or your torso, and if you get too many of these cards, they're going to be serious wounds, and you will die if you get, I think, 3 of them. Now, if you are in the same room with an intruder, if you have a gun and it's got ammo on it, you can discard the ammo, pick the target, and fire that gun, depending on whatever it says, at the intruder. You're going to roll a number of die, depending on if the die the die symbol matches that intruder, or if you get just kind of the generic hits, or you place damage tokens on that alien. You're going to go ahead, you're going to draw the intruder attack card, and if the number on the card is equal to or lower than the number of wounds it has sustained, he is killed. Otherwise, he remains on the board. He's just hurt. Now, if you do a melee attack and you miss, you will get dealt a serious wound. But even so, you're going to have to draw a contamination card. Now, a contamination card looks just like your action cards. You place that face down, or you place it face up, rather, in your discard pile. It gets mixed in with your other cards. So it's one of these cards that just kind of gums up the works. But there's something else that's going to happen at the end of the game that makes these something you don't want to have. Now, as you're going around, as I say, you've got to go to the engines. There are 3 engines, and 2 of them have to be working. So you can inspect them, which of course only you can look at, and you can play a repair card to try to repair it so you can get the engines up and running. At the same time, you have to have somebody go to the bridge and make sure that you are on the right course. You're on a course for Earth. Otherwise, like I say, if either of those things aren't working, you are not going to win, unless you can get to an escape pod. Now, if you can go ahead and get these, the engines and the course set, and you can get back to the hibernation room after about halfway through the game, you can climb back in there and you're done and you're safe, theoretically. Or conversely, if you've got access to one of the escape pods, which unlock about halfway through, you can go ahead and get an escape pod. You can take that, you're out of the game theoretically. You can also be killed, as I say, by one of the intruders, in which case, again, you're out of the game. Now, at the end of the game, assuming all of these other factors are met, you got out an escape pod, or you successfully fixed the engines, your course is right, and you're in the hibernation zone, what's going to happen then is you're going to make sure that you have fulfilled your specific secret objective. If you have fulfilled that objective, great, you've won. Not quite. You've still got to go through all of your deck, your action deck, for those contamination cards. You put the contamination card into the reader and you look and see if it says infected. If it says infective, then you didn't win, you lost the game because you're carrying the evil alien within inside you. So you have to go through and make sure that none of your action cards say you're infected. If you've completed everything you need to do on the ship, if you've completed your secret objective, and none of your contamination cards say infected, then you win! Nemesis. Okay, so that's, again, just the bare bones of how you play Nemesis. There's a lot more to it. In solitaire game, there's a few other little things. Now, the thing about Nemesis is it gets very constant comparisons to Alien and Aliens, that franchise. The aliens look like the aliens from the Aliens franchise. The weapons and technology and stuff are evocative of that. So much so that people have suggested it's essentially an Aliens game, right? And in fact, truth be told, I was playing the Ravensburger Alien game, and that's kind of what first got me thinking about maybe I should give Nemesis another chance, because I'm thinking, I like the theme, I like the idea. The Ravensburger game didn't really thrill me. I thought maybe I should check this out. So, like I said, I was in Utah. They had it there. It was a good price. I thought, what the hey, I'll pick it up. So I played this game. Like I said, I'd played it years before, and there was stuff about it I liked, but we played some things wrong, and it kind of screwed some things up. And I think maybe, too, I just wasn't in the mood that day. I don't know what it was, but I didn't walk away with a great impression. I thought it could be good, but it didn't thrill me. So when I started playing, I played a couple of games solitaire, and I generally had fun with it. But there's so much to do in a solitaire game, between getting the engines up and running and the cockpit. And again, you're searching, right? You got to find the right rooms, and it takes actions and it takes time to search the different rooms. So that's dangerous. And then if you have fires spreading, it's very hard to put out in the solitaire game. So the game really, I don't think, is fundamentally a solitaire game. I mean, you can play it solitaire, but it's not really designed for that, right? It's not what it's supposed to be. Having said that, I could see myself playing this again solitaire. I just will go in with the mindset I'm playing it for fun. I don't really think I got a snowball's chance of winning. Although I did kind of come close in one of the games I played. The game shines when you're playing with multiple people. I went back to Utah, and Holly, George, and Mark and I, we played a 4-player game. And the thing of it is, this is kind of a game where when it starts out, you've almost got a fully cooperative mindset. You're thinking, oh, we're all pulling our weight here. But as the game goes on, it becomes increasingly obvious that those individual objectives are the thing, and that's what's important. For instance, George, I had my card said I had to kill George, and of course I couldn't kill him directly. But I saw an opportunity. He was in a room with an alien, and you can't throw a grenade at somebody, but if they're in a room with an alien, you can throw a grenade. So I threw a grenade. I hurt him, but he survived, and he was able to get out. We're both heading to the escape pod. I'm like, I can't let this guy get off the ship. We get to the escape pod, and an alien appears. We can't use the room. So he gets to the hibernatorium. I'm chasing him, but I don't know what I'm going to do, but I got to do something. And he is able to get into the escape pod. I'm like, crap. And by this point, Mark and Holly had both been eliminated. And so I'm thinking my only hope is to get in an escape pod and hope he's got an infected card. That's the only way I'm going to do it, because he's completed his objectives, right? So I go ahead, I get into the escape pod, I get off the ship. So now we both got to look at our contamination cards. And I look at mine, and I'm clear. It comes down to, if George has an infected card, I win the game. And he had a good number of cards. I think I only had about 3 or 4, and I think he had more than that. He goes through his cards, and sure enough, one of them is infected. He lost. Man alive, that was such a good feeling. It was tense right up to the end. And there are ways to get rid of your contaminated cards too while you're on the ship. So there's some, it's not just luck, there's some mitigation there. And, my favorite games, and I've said this 100 times on the channel, my favorite games are the games that tell stories. The games that feel like movies or books, but you are an actor. You create the action. You create the story. You build the story. That's why I love games so much. I mean, I like abstracts here or there. They're fine. I like Euros here and there. They're fine. But a good theme with a fun story and an engaging story that sucks you in is the hallmark of a great game. And I got to tell you, this game does it about as good as any game I've ever played. This game builds that tension, and it makes it so that it's just absolutely terrifying to find out what's going to happen. And I love that so much. I love that so much. Again, I literally have had people have said, you need to review Nemesis. I'll review a game that's got aliens or something, and you got to review Nemesis. You got to play Nemesis. You got to review Nemesis. And my answer was always, well, I played it once. I wasn't wowed, And then after I bought it and I put it on my shelf, I started to have people commenting in comments, Cody, review Nemesis, review Nemesis. I'm like, all right, I'll get to it. So here it is. And I loved it. Of course I did, and y'all knew I would. It's a perfect thematic game that has hidden I don't want to say even hidden traitors, but hidden information. And because of that hidden information, because of the tension, and because of kind of the chaos that is affecting all the players that is happening on the board, I kind of feel like it's evocative of one of my absolute favorite games, BSG, Battlestar Galactica. It reminds me of that. That tension, right? And it's great fun. This is a game absolutely I'm going to hang on to. I want to play again. It's want to make sure to get some friends together and play again because it's so hard. Now, there's a tiny bit of a learning curve. There's a lot of information here. There's a lot of stuff in the book. So this is a game you do kind of have to invest a little time in. But I think if you do it, you will be well rewarded for your time. Nemesis is just a fantastic game. Very, very delighted it's in my collection that I bought it. And I'm very much looking forward to playing it again and again. No brainer for the discriminating gamer. It's an expensive game, and usually if a game is over $100, I kind of have a hard time just saying buy it, unless it's something really special. I did Clash of Cultures recently, so I didn't have a problem saying buy it. Sometimes there's something I can just say buy it. This one, buy it. It's awesome. You'll love it. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, I ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. I'd also ask you to, ladies and gentlemen, please check out my other channel that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about military history and fun things like that. Please subscribe to that channel if you can. And please, ladies and gentlemen, give us a thumb to this video on Board Game Geek. And hey, give us a thumb on YouTube too. We really appreciate that. That helps out the channel a lot. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I just asked for your help, and now I'm going to insult you. Your mother is so slow, she took 9 months to name a joke.
Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band.
Happy to you, happy to you.